Hey everybody, it's Tough. I want to show off an update for the tuffpad design. I'm a little sick, so forgive my nasally voice. Anyways, on the left you see the current, or yeah, the current main frame. Uh, this is where the keypad PCB sits in this little slot here. This is where the Raspberry Pi Pico is seated. This is where the USB-C breakout is seated. And this slot here is where the RJ45 Keystone jack goes. And this bracket sits on top of the RJ45 Keystone and pinches it. I did not model the Keystone jack. It's too complicated. I just wanted to get this video out quick because I'm done with the new design. And I just wanted to show this. So I didn't model that, but let me add a constraint here so you can see what this looks like. So there, and that will set. Nope, I've already got a constraint there. Let me set a constraint here. Boop, boop, boom. Okay. So currently, this is what this looks like. Imagine there's an RJ45 Keystone in this space. And the Ethernet cable, plugs into there. It works. It's secure. It doesn't move. It's robust in terms of, like, if you drop the unit on the ground, that cable's not going to come loose, generally speaking. So in those regards, it's great. From a construction design, like when I'm putting this together, it's all very tight. The RJ45 Keystone jack is quite large and bulky compared to this space I have in here. It's a pain in the butt to work with. It's easily one of the most fiddly bits of a tuffpad construction. And I still need, even with this jack here, I still need a little bit of hot glue, like on the inside, to like make sure that it's seated square against everything. So it technically works. It results. It has a good outcome, but I think we can do better. And I'm limited by the color of Ethernet cables. I have this long strand of Cat5e that I've used for all my tuffpad builds since day one, and I'm almost out of it. And it's that standard gray color Ethernet shielding or jacket sleeve, and it whatever, it's fine. But if I have my own wire loom, I get to I can braid or wrap it however I want. So that means I can even do more color coordination between the frame and the keycap colors and the Cat5, or sorry, not the Cat5, the wire bundle going from the side module that sits here to this point here. So I'm changing the connector to HDMI, and this is what I've got over here. I found HDMI female breakout boards, so I've modeled that. It's quite simple, but HDMI connector and then a small PCB coming off the back where all the solder points are. I can solder to. This gets me a few things. One, HDMI is a secure connection. It's not as secure as RJ45 is. I think it doesn't have a snap connector. It's all friction based, but there's a lot of material contacting a lot of material, so it's secure. And the way I've designed this, I think it will also add to that security. And I'm going to show how I'm planning on making this work. So this is my modeled HDMI breakout. The idea is that this will sit on top of this platform inside the main tuffpad body. So let me add a constraint there so you can see that. This will sit that surface back into that surface. So that will rest on top of this base with the PCB butted into this little bracket here. So once this is seated, it can't move back. And it can't move side to side. I'm still working on how I'm going to keep it from moving forward. I just need to add some material somewhere for it to some surface to butt up against. But between this and the next piece, I don't think it's going anywhere. So the next piece is this bracket. And it's going to pinch the top of this surface and be held down by M3 screws into these posts. And this surface will rest against this surface, keeping the vertical alignment correct. So I've already got those constraints in place. Let me just bring this in so we can see how this will work. Yeah, I need to do that against the bottom. And then I need to do, where's the other degree of freedom? This direction. So I need to add a constraint here to here. Yeah, so when this is seated, it's going to look like this. So M3s go into these posts. It pinches the HDMI connector into this surface here. And it provides this cavity for the HDMI cable to go in. I didn't want the HDMI connection exposed on the exterior of the wall. I wanted it inset into the body. One, I think it will look better that way, and two, it'll be more secure. So I think the frame is ready to print. I don't think I need to do any more adjustments here. Like the way that this bracket on the bottom is good. I might add a small bit of material to kind of pinch the PCB so it can't move out forward this way. But I think I can accomplish that by changing the geometry slightly on this bracket. So I'm going to print this frame and make sure that this HDMI female breakout sits correctly. And then I can print, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, as it goes, iterations of this bracket here until everything seats correctly. And I'm just looking this over. I find that when I do these assemblies in the CAD software like this, before I print, I save myself failed prints. Often I catch issues in this space well before I catch issues when I'm dealing with a physical object in my hand. So that's the idea. Yeah, I'm certain that there will be a certain amount of material that I could add here to overlap a bit of the HDMI connector to keep it from moving even more. But I think that the downward pressure might actually do just as good. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. But that's the idea. And I've got, this will let me build my own HDMI cables, because on the other end, I've also got male HDMI breakout boards, so I can basically make my own cables. They can be much more compact, the correct length, and I can use whatever jacketing, shielding, wrapping, braiding that I want in whatever color that I want. That opens up the door. And on the side module side over here, now that I'm using Joy-Cons, the breakout boards for the Joy-Con ribbon cables have very small solder through holes, very small. It's been very difficult to get Cat 5 wires through those. They're just ever so slightly too big. Like it's a real pain in the butt. And then once you have them all soldered, there's 5 of them in a very small space, so it makes it a very rigid difficult to maneuver, difficult to position sort of situation. I've built 4 or 5 of those so far with the RJ45 and the Cat 5 cables with the Joy-Cons, and it's certainly doable. I've done it, and I've even had customers, swap out Joy-Cons and stuff, and that all works fine. It's just, if I can make this easier for myself, give it better cosmetic outcome, make it easier to work with. I think I just said that. And then it'll also be cheaper. Cat 5 is expensive. These little breakouts are not. And, using my own AWG 28-ish wires to make cables is also easier than working with Cat 5 internal twisted pair wires. So this is just my initial idea. I think I'm at a place where I can start printing. I'm certain that I'm going to iterate on this bracket a few times before it's finally perfect, but I think this is close enough that I can start actually printing and dry fitting. And I think that's it. I just wanted to show this before I had physical pieces. 1, because it's been a while since I've done any tuffpad updates, and 2, because the prototyping process can take time, and it's easier to have these pieces in this software space than it is to have 2 physical pieces on the table, because I don't have one of these RJ45 frames just hanging around. I'd have to print one, and that's just a waste of material. So this is easier. What else did I do? Oh, I did a few other things, like I made the Raspberry Pi Pico mounts more robust. These are for M2 bolts, M2 panhead screws, and they work. But if I'm not careful, if I over torque them, or I put too much downward pressure while I'm screwing it down, I've broken these posts before, and then I have to super glue them on, or just do 3. It's a pain in the butt. These shouldn't break. I've also made the diameter of the M2 screw posts like 0.2 millimeters wider, just so I don't have to torque those panhead screws so hard. Those are just hold downs. I mean, you don't need a ton of downward pressure to secure a small PCB like a Pi Pico. It's just to hold it down so it doesn't touch anything and short anything out on the inside. But I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Next video should be a demonstration with some physical parts that I can dry fit and just show you. I'm pretty excited. The customer that I'm doing this for requested a dark green plastic for the frame, and the brand that I buy plastic from, their dark green is really attractive. So I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out, how it's going to look. And that's what you guys will see next, very likely. But anyways, I've taken way too long and I'm rambling with my sick brain. Yeah. I think that's going to work. Anyways, I'll catch y'all later. Thanks.